You're going to be seriously upset by this, okay? And I am going to use, only because I have to. And 99% of me wants to. Okay, I lied. 102% of me wants to use the R word in this particular case. Tim Walz is upset because the president has called him retarded. Now, I think he might be retarded. I mean, and not necessarily, I don't know what his IQ is. Probably pretty low, but, I don't know if it's down to 60. But his PQ is definitely under 60. His political quotient is definitely under 60. The guy, he's, I put him in the category of, what was his name? Howard Dean. Yeah. Remember that guy who walked out and we're going to go to Virginia and Kentucky and Minnesota. Yeah. And you're like, no, dude, you've just lost big. You're not going anywhere past here. I'm not sure that he is clinically retarded, but in the playground sense, he's definitely retarded. You know what I'm saying, Stu?
You mean, yeah, like how kids used to say it back in the day, like that sort of
the playground.
That general. I mean, that's certainly that definition he would apply to him, I assume.
Right. And remember, that's the same point to where all of us heard from our mothers: sticks and stones can break your bones, but words will never hurt you. Remember? You remember that one? Remember that one? Yeah. When you were called retarded or whatever on the playground. And you'd go home to your mom, but they called me retarded. And your mom would look at you like, yeah, well, maybe you are. Or she just immediately said to you, sticks and stones will break your bones, but words will never hurt you. Just remember that. Just remember that, son. Words can never hurt you. Doesn't matter what they say about you. We don't say that anymore.
It was pretty good advice, actually, especially with the internet in mind. I don't think that was what our parents thought of at that time, but it's much, much worse. Yeah, and much more people seem to be affected by the words are violence sort of, thought process. Like that's real these days.
I also have a problem with a guy who, surrounds himself with people who call the president a Nazi. I don't know which one's worse. A Nazi or retarded? You know what I mean?
Yeah, Nazis were really bad. That's actually a pretty serious accusation.
Nazis were very bad.
Fascist is another one, pretty serious accusation.
Yeah.
I will also note,
or just weird.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. That is exactly the reason he was on the ticket, is because he was name calling other people and calling them weird. It's his only qualification. Outside of he's massively inept and corrupt and all the other things that would, of course, qualify him to be on a Democratic ticket. But outside of that, the only reason he stood out from all the other loser Democrats was that he said the word weird on TV once. And Kamala Harris, who has admitted that the reason she made, or at least the day that she made that decision, she was quote unquote overtired. Why would you point that out? I don't understand. But the only theoretical reason he was on the ticket was because he was calling people names. He called them weird. Which was another school playground like insult back in the day. You're weird,
weirdo.
Yeah, weirdo. Yeah, that was the way it was. And so he's able to enjoy the benefits of calling people childish names, but when he gets called those names, it gets really scary for him.
I know. Well, he hasn't listened to his mother. He thinks words can actually hurt him. Now, Stu, do we know, does he agree with the state senator that says that Minnesota won't survive without Somalians? Can we play this, please? It's cut 4.
State Senator Zaida Mohammed says these attacks won't stop with Somalis and their contributions can't easily be erased.
We are in every industry, and Minnesota would not be able to survive nor thrive without the Somali community here.
Really? Was that accurate? The the state of Minnesota cannot survive without the Somali community. Now, my understanding was that they are relatively new to the state, which has survived for a very long time before their arrival. I would also note, Glenn, and you might be able to help me with this one. We're going to get deep here, though. And I understand at times the audience hears us get deep into science and mathematics and all these.
We're known for that.
We're known for that. And I can understand sometimes it might be confusing. You're driving to work and you're like hearing all these numbers and you can't, maybe if you looked at them on a spreadsheet, you'd be able to recognize what's going on. But, when you're in your car, it's hard to internalize all this. So I'm going to try to lay it out because I don't understand it. And maybe you do. What we understand is about $1 billion of fraud, not all of it from the Somali community, but the vast majority of it seemingly coming from the Somali community. And then the comeback to that was that the Somali community pays about $67 million in taxes every year. So can you do the math on this? One of the numbers is $1 billion, and the other one is $67 million. Which one do you think is more important? Which one's higher? Do we need to get like
Tim
AI?
Walz, as Tim Walz, I think that $7 million. $7 million.
$67
Do I
million.
mind it?
Or $1 billion? That's the question. Which one's larger? Do we have a game show?
With 4.
Music.
Leave me with 4. 4.
Now, if you think about it, Glenn, the first number in both of those, if like the $1 billion, the first number is a 1. 67 million, the first number is a 6. So is 67 million
6 is bigger than 1?
Right? Is it 6 times
bigger than 1?
That might be what's going on.
I would say there are 933 reasons to say anyone who says that math works out is retarded. Okay? It doesn't work out. Now, look, because here's what they say. They generate $500 million every year. Okay. All right. And then they give back out of that, their taxes out of that, which this itself doesn't make sense to me. $500 billion in revenue is what they generate, but then they pay in taxes $67 million. But what we're missing here is the $1 billion of fraudulent money being taken from the taxpayer. So the $500 million doesn't do anything. Okay, that's
still
going to the Somali community.
Yeah,
half. I dare I say it, Stu?
I'll get
half
AI
the
on
size
that. Let me ask
what
Grok.
They just okay. All right. Okay. Oh, I don't know. Can Grok do that? That's like a 10-year problem. 10-year problem. Anyway, you've got half. All right. That number doesn't even. You've got $1 billion that has been stolen, $67 million that has been paid in taxes. That leaves $933 million. That is a deficit. You remain $933 million in the hole. I think we could survive without that. I mean, sure, we don't get your $500 million, but that's okay. That's okay because we'd have $1 billion that you didn't take.
Yeah, that's right. I think we'd be ahead. And also, I'd note the people who are paying...
By the way, that's if that's if we took every Somali and just lumped them into this,
right?
Which not.
No, and
I'm sure there's some Somalis that are part of that 500 million that are not crooked. They can stay. They're fine.
I'm certain of that. And in fact, I would argue those are the people likely paying the $67 million in taxes.
Exactly,
the people who were stealing all the money weren't paying taxes on it, which is kind of the problem. In fact, all that money that came from the state was specifically designed so they didn't have to pay taxes on it. The programs were designed, of course, when you're talking about a low-income person, right? You're not going to charge them taxes on their autism treatment. But of course, those weren't really treating kids with autism. So the actual productive members of the society were instead paying those taxes to fund the corrupt Somalis who were stealing all the money. And, again, we've made this point a million times, and I think it holds here. Maybe treat people like individuals, right? Maybe don't people, there are members of the Somali community that I'm sure are very important to the state. They probably are great. There's probably great people in that community. But I can tell you, we know with these charges that there are a lot of people who were not living up to that expectation, and those people should be punished. We shouldn't hide from it. We shouldn't act as if this wasn't a massive problem in this group of people. Charge the people responsible for it and stop acting like we need them to survive. We don't need criminals to survive as a country or a state.
Let me just, I'd have to go back to Tim Walz being upset about the retarded thing. Play cut 2, please.
This creates danger. And I'll tell you what, in my time on this, I'd never seen this before. People driving by my house and using the R word in front of people. This is shameful. And I have yet to see an elected official, a Republican elected official, say, you're right, that's shameful. He should not say it. So look, I'm worried. We know how these things go. They start with taunts, they turn to violence. So deeply concerned.
Founder of the taunt of weird thinks that taunt could lead to violence. That's so strange.
Who's living in the world of he's a fascist Nazi. Mm-hmm. All right. Now suddenly, and I've never seen this. I've never seen anything like this, Stu. Never seen anything like this. I'm in my house and people are driving down my house and rolling down their windows and they're just screaming retard out. That's going to lead to violence. Look. No. I mean, it's not nice and it's wrong. Jesus wouldn't have done it. But I don't think Jesus had to put up with all these retards as politicians, quite honestly. So, I mean, I can't answer for that. Yeah, I don't know. I'm not a biblical scholar or a scientist or a mathematician.
We've learned that. We've learned we can't even tell numbers apart. But I will say, while you're right, it's obviously not. I wouldn't teach my children to behave that way, to drive by Tim Walz's house.
It is shameful.
I will say it's wrong to do. I will also say it's objectively funny picturing Tim Walz looking out his window and hearing people yell the R word at him when he's going out to get his mail, and people like it's objectively a funny retard. Scenario.
It is funny.
It's bad. It's wrong that it's funny, but it's objectively funny. There's no way. There's no other way to read it. Now, and look, I'm sure the left laughed because, I mean, think about what they do with J.D. Vance. They called him weird, right? Because God, he ran, came up from a very poor upbringing and rose to the levels of high levels of wealth and achievement and power. They called that weird. That he loved his family. And they celebrate.
We call that the American dream. Retard.
Yeah, that used to be the American dream. Now it's weird. But they of course yelled this at him all the time. They make the meme of him looking like you would say potentially retarded would be the example of the meme that they've created to mock J.D. Vance. They constantly mock him with this. But that doesn't lead to violence. Calling people Nazis doesn't lead to violence, despite the fact that we've seen the president of the United States take a bullet from, after all of this has happened. We saw Charlie Kirk get assassinated on stage after people said that about him. But it's the R word being yelled at Tim Walz when he goes to get when he waddles out to get his mail. That's the thing we're supposed to be concerned about. No, I'm sorry.
I mean, I don't want to see this in real life because I don't want it to happen because it is wrong. But I do want somebody to create an AI reproduction of just some kids driving by and he's in his fuzzy slippers getting the newspaper in the morning and these kids like in American Graffiti going, hey, retard. I mean, I do kind of want to see that. I do.
Something AI is good for.
It's wrong. It's wrong of me. And